God says, listen closely, my beloved soul. Stay with this moment just a little longer than you plan to, because something gentle and meaningful is unfolding right now, not through urgency or fear, but through recognition. You did not arrive here by accident, and this pause you took was not random. There are moments when the heart recognizes what the mind cannot immediately explain, and this is one of those moments where understanding begins quietly, without force. There is a kind of love that does not end when a person leaves this world. It changes its form, but it does not disappear. You may have felt it in unexpected ways, an unexplainable calm during a difficult moment, a memory that arrives with warmth instead of pain, or a sense of reassurance that settles without asking for attention. These experiences are not meant to pull you backward into sorrow. They are meant to steady you as you continue forward, carrying love without carrying weight. Archangel Michael is often understood as a presence of protection and clarity, guiding hearts toward peace rather than confusion. When his name is spoken here, it represents strength that does not overwhelm and wisdom that does not pressure. It is a reminder that you are supported in understanding what you feel, not pushed to interpret it beyond what brings calm. You may have questions you never voiced, thoughts you kept private, or feelings you did not know how to place. That is natural. When a bond mattered deeply, it leaves impressions that surface quietly over time. These impressions are not meant to disturb you. They are reminders of connection, of care that shaped who you are today. Remembering does not mean you are stuck. It means you are human, capable of carrying love forward in a healthy way. There are times when memory feels heavy, and times when it feels comforting. That shift happens when healing begins to integrate loss into life rather than letting it dominate it. Integration is not forgetting. It is allowing gratitude to exist alongside longing, allowing peace to coexist with remembrance. When this balance begins to form, it is a sign of growth, not distance. You might notice moments when something familiar brings a gentle smile instead of tears. That does not mean love faded. It means love matured into something that supports you instead of overwhelming you. Supportive love encourages you to live fully, to rest when needed, and to trust that you are not walking alone, even when paths change. This message is not asking you to search for signs or to analyze every coincidence. It is inviting you to trust what brings calm rather than what creates confusion. Calm is a signal. When something feels steady, reassuring, and kind, it aligns with what is meant to support you now. Overthinking pulls you away from that steadiness. Presence brings you back. You may have felt moments of reassurance arrive without explanation, especially when you needed strength. Those moments are not meant to replace action or decision. They are meant to remind you that you are capable of continuing with courage and balance. Courage here does not mean pushing through pain. It means allowing yourself to feel supported as you move forward. There is also a gentle reminder woven into this moment: you are allowed to experience joy again. Love does not demand sadness as proof of loyalty. True love wants you grounded, hopeful, and present. Carrying this understanding allows you to honor what was without limiting what can still be. Stay with this awareness. Let it settle without rushing to conclusions. Meaning does not need to be loud to be real. Sometimes it arrives as a quiet certainty that you are okay, that you are supported, and that you can continue your journey with steadiness rather than fear. This message is opening a space for remembrance without heaviness, connection without confusion, and peace without pressure. Allow it to rest with you. What truly mattered remains part of who you are, and it will continue to guide you gently as you move forward. As you continue with this message, allow yourself to slow down internally, because what unfolds now is meant to deepen understanding, not rush emotion. When love leaves an imprint on your life, it does not fade with time, it settles into the quieter layers of your awareness. That is why certain memories surface gently rather than forcefully, and why some moments feel unexpectedly comforting even when you did not ask for reassurance. You may have noticed that when you think of this loved one now, the feeling is different than it once was. The sharpness has softened. The ache has transformed into something steadier, almost protective. This shift is important. It shows that your heart is learning how to carry connection without pain dominating the experience. Carrying connection in this way is a sign of emotional maturity and healing, not distance or forgetting. Archangel Michael is often associated with guidance that brings balance and calm. In this context, his presence represents discernment, the ability to understand what supports your well-being and what no longer needs to weigh on you. Discernment does not demand interpretation. It simply helps you recognize what feels grounding and what feels heavy, and to choose the path that allows peace to grow. There are moments when you may feel a quiet nudge to reflect, to pause, or to take a different perspective on something you have been holding on to. These nudges are not meant to pull you backward into memory. They are meant to help you move forward with clarity. Reflection, when guided by calm, strengthens rather than weakens you. You might realize that the love you shared taught you lessons you still use today: compassion, patience, resilience, or the courage to care deeply. These lessons are part of your foundation now. They did not leave when the person did. They remain active in how you show up for yourself and others. Recognizing this helps you see that connection continues through influence rather than presence. Sometimes people fear that acknowledging peace means diminishing love. The opposite is true. When love brings peace, it means it has integrated into who you are. Integrated love supports growth. It allows you to make choices without guilt, to experience happiness without questioning whether it is allowed, and to trust that moving forward honors the past rather than erasing it. You may also notice that certain worries you once carried feel less urgent now. That is not because problems disappeared, but because your perspective shifted. Perspective is powerful. When you see from a steadier place, challenges become manageable rather than overwhelming. This steadiness is part of what this message is affirming within you. Allow yourself to trust the quiet understanding forming now. You do not need to search for signs or meaning outside of what feels calm and supportive. Guidance that aligns with your well-being never creates anxiety. It brings reassurance, patience, and the sense that you are capable of continuing with balance. As you stay present with this message, remember that connection does not demand constant attention. It exists naturally, woven into who you are. You are free to live fully, to plan, to hope, and to rest, knowing that what mattered continues to support you in subtle but steady ways. This continuation is not closing anything. It is expanding your capacity to remember without pain, to feel without fear, and to move forward with a quiet confidence that you are supported in ways that feel gentle, respectful, and grounding. As this message moves forward, what becomes important now is not memory alone, but meaning. There comes a stage where remembrance stops asking questions and begins offering strength. You may feel that happening quietly inside you. The thoughts that once carried heaviness now feel calmer, almost as if they are standing beside you rather than sitting on your chest. This shift is not something you forced. It is something you allowed, and that allowance matters more than you realize. There is a deep truth many people overlook: connection does not depend on physical presence to remain real. Connection depends on impact. The way someone shaped your heart, your values, your resilience, and your ability to love does not dissolve with time. It becomes embedded in how you live, how you respond, how you care. When you recognize this, loss begins to transform into legacy. Archangel Michael represents clarity that brings stability rather than confusion. In this stage of the message, his role symbolizes inner alignment, the moment when your emotions and understanding begin to work together instead of against each other. Alignment feels like relief. It feels like you no longer need to explain your feelings to yourself. You simply accept them as part of your journey. You may notice that certain choices in your life feel clearer now. Decisions that once felt emotionally tangled begin to feel simpler, not because the options changed, but because you did. Growth often shows itself through ease. When something is aligned, it stops draining you. It may still require effort, but it no longer requires constant emotional negotiation. There is also a subtle invitation here to trust the pace of your healing. Healing does not move in straight lines. Some days feel light, others feel reflective. Both are valid. What matters is that you are no longer fighting where you are. Acceptance brings more peace than resistance ever could. You might find that your understanding of love itself has matured. Love no longer feels fragile or easily lost. It feels stable, enduring, and capable of existing alongside change. This maturity allows you to form new connections without fear of replacing the old. Love does not compete with itself. It expands. As this awareness settles, you may experience moments of quiet gratitude. Gratitude does not erase sadness. It softens it. It allows appreciation to coexist with memory, creating emotional balance rather than emotional suppression. Balance is what sustains you long term. There is also reassurance in knowing that you are allowed to live fully without carrying the responsibility of holding on to pain. Pain does not preserve love. Presence does. When you choose presence in your current life, you honor what mattered by continuing to grow rather than remaining stuck. You may realize that the reassurance you sought externally has been forming internally all along. Confidence in your emotional strength. Trust in your ability to move forward. Calm in knowing that you are not abandoning the past by embracing the present. These realizations do not announce themselves loudly. They settle in quietly, like truth finding its place. This message is not pushing you toward any conclusion. It is supporting the understanding that is already forming. You are not meant to carry unanswered questions forever. Some answers come not through explanation, but through peace. When peace arrives, it is okay to stop asking. Stay with this steadiness. Let it guide how you treat yourself, how you honor memory, and how you step into what comes next. What truly belongs in your life stays without effort. What has completed its purpose rests without resistance. And you move forward grounded, aware, and supported in ways that feel calm, respectful, and deeply human. As this message completes its unfolding, what matters most now is integration, the quiet way understanding settles into your everyday awareness and begins to guide you without effort. You may notice that the feeling you carry while reading this is steadier than before, less searching, more grounded. That steadiness is not accidental. It is the natural result of allowing remembrance to mature into meaning. Meaning does not demand attention. It supports you silently, like a foundation you can lean on without thinking. There comes a point when you realize that what you were trying to hold on to never truly needed to be held. Love that shaped you does not need guarding or proof. It exists through influence, through the way it strengthened your empathy, softened your reactions, and gave you depth. When you recognize this, the fear of losing connection fades. You see clearly that connection was never at risk. It lives on in who you are and how you move through the world. You might find that your inner dialogue has changed. Where there was once questioning, there is now acceptance. Where there was once tension, there is now patience. This shift is subtle, but it is powerful. It means your emotional energy is no longer being pulled backward or scattered. It is becoming available for the present moment. Presence is where healing stabilizes and life begins to feel lighter without becoming shallow. This stage is also about permission to live fully without carrying silent obligations to remain sad, quiet, or paused. Love does not ask you to stop growing. It asks you to keep becoming more yourself. When you allow joy, curiosity, and hope back into your life, you are not betraying memory. You are honoring it by continuing forward with the strength it helped build. You may notice that your perspective on time has softened. The past no longer feels like a place you must revisit to understand yourself. The future no longer feels uncertain or heavy. The present feels enough. When the present feels enough, anxiety loosens its grip. You begin to trust your ability to meet what comes next with calm rather than fear. There is also a deep reassurance here. You do not need to search for signs or messages outside of what already brings peace. Guidance that truly supports you never creates urgency or pressure. It aligns with steadiness, clarity, and kindness. If something leaves you calmer, more balanced, and more compassionate toward yourself, it is serving you well. As you carry this understanding forward, you may notice that decisions feel simpler. Not easier, but clearer. Clarity reduces emotional friction. When friction reduces, energy returns. With more energy available, you naturally invest it where it matters most. Your well-being, your growth, and the relationships that meet you with respect and ease. This message does not close a door. It opens space. Space for remembering without heaviness. Space for living without guilt. Space for trusting that what mattered continues to support you quietly, without demanding anything in return. That kind of support is steady. It does not fade. It simply becomes part of your inner strength. Stay with this calm confidence. Let it shape how you move forward, how you rest, and how you choose what belongs in your life now. You are not losing anything that truly mattered. You are carrying it in a way that allows you to breathe freely, stand firmly, and continue your journey with clarity and peace. If something inside you told you to stay till this moment, don't ignore it. Whisper "Amen" in the comments, press like as a quiet yes to this message, and subscribe so you stay connected to what's meant to guide you. Now gently share this with one soul you feel drawn to, because this message never reaches the wrong person.